All right, ladies, this one is for you. So I'm going to talk about why do men cheat. There's various reasons why a guy will cheat, but I'm going to touch on the reasons most of the time most guys cheat. And this is based on my past experiences. And when I say experience in regards of talking to other men, seeing other men cheat, friends, I could say family, and colleagues, just being around the block a bunch of times. So now there's no reason ever to cheat. Okay, I'll start with that. Particularly when you're married in a serious relationship. So I want that disclaimer out there right away. There's no reason ever to cheat, but I'll start with this, you guys. So, you know how easy it is for you girls to go out and find a man for sex. And I know sex is not a big deal for you girls because you can get it so easy. Most guys have to work hard at it. We can't just show up and a girl will sleep with us. We have to do a lot of stuff before we can just show up somewhere. And even then, I could show up with a Lamborghini, all my wealth, etc. And you can have another hot girl and she could show up somewhere and the red carpet be laid out for her. And she could have her pick of the litter in regards of men that she wants to go out with. For me or another guy, you go out there, even if you got all your business together, you're handsome, you're good looking, you got money, you got wealth, you got charisma. Well, it still takes an effort to get laid out there. So men put a lot more value behind that opportunity to get sex. Women, not so much. Women will have affairs or cheat for other reasons, and that's a whole nother video. But all the times that I'm aware of that the guys have cheated was because the opportunity presented itself. And the guys usually looked at it as, wow, I've never had this opportunity. This is why I do support the fact that you ladies should go out with men that have more experiences in life. What I have found, and which is so true, now again, there's no reason to ever cheat, particularly if you're married or in a very serious relationship. All right? There's no reason to cheat at all. So I don't support that. But what I do want to say is that when you go out with a man with a lot of experience and this man chooses to have a relationship or a marriage with you, he is giving himself to you in essence, as well as you're giving yourself to him. Well, when a man has a lot of experience and he's experienced a lot of different women all his life, he's more or less likely to cheat because he's had a lot of different types of women in his life. So that overall would minimize your risk. Now, when you go out with a guy, some basic, podunk, humdrum, or guys with little experience, of course, it's all lovey-dovey when you meet each other. But as time evolves and you're in a relationship for a period of time, these men, generally speaking, you girls, that don't have as much experience, they are more likely to cheat. Because as time moves on in life goes on and they have an opportunity to do something they've never done before, they're more than likely to cheat. Or if, let's say, there's as they go on through life, the basic humdrum or the everyday life that takes its toll on every relationship, this man that may have an opportunity, he sees a girl that's never hasn't blinked at him for the longest time, or never had this type of girl blink at him and show some interest in him. And then he thinks about, of course, that, hey, my life won't change whatsoever a bit if I cheat with this girl, because he's never experienced something like that before. So he would more than likely cheat and have an affair to satisfy his fantasies or his wants and needs. So I always recommend for you girls to go out with men, not boys, first of all, men that have had experiences in their life. The higher the number, the better, because there's more satisfaction. That man is more at ease with himself, and he's less than likely to cheat. Now, you hear a lot on these various platforms that a man is only as faithful as his options. I disagree with that, because we're not going to base a high value man based on his money. That's all bullshit. We're going to base it on other issues, other stuff, like other qualities, like his good moral, his virtuousness, his ethics. Again, you always have to look at where the guy comes from. This is why you got to vet men that you want to have relationships with very, very carefully, or eventual marriage. Always got to look at his background. That's so important. You girls, you jump into love too easily. That's part of the problem of why you have a lot of problems with a lot of men. You just jump into love. It feels good. The sex was good the first time, and it's a little bit about his friends, but you don't go based on what he's accomplished in life. This is why it's so important to meet a guy that has had some sort of commitment and dedication in his life. Again, these just all minimize your potential risks. And if a man at that level has had a lot of experiences, he knows when he's ready to settle down, or he knows when he's ready to meet a woman and have a family. Now, number one, he has to respect you. And when a man can respect a woman, now it's not based on your looks, ladies. It's based on also who you are as a human being, as a person, and how dedicated you are towards that relationship and how you respond to him. Now, if a man respects you, he's less than likely, or he's going to feel super guilty inside, or his conscience will be talking to him whether he should cheat or not on you. So there's other elements involved why a guy, his ego is fragile, or he is responding strictly on his testosterone. There are other reasons, but fundamentally, the basic reasons for why guys cheat is because they haven't had experience. Sex is very hard for a lot of guys, for it to come by for a lot of guys, particularly if it's a hot little vixen that's blinking her eyes at some guy. So you ladies too, always got to remember it takes another person to fulfill this cheating. So, and for the male-female dynamic, which we're going to focus on right here, it takes a woman. So it takes another lady to fulfill or blink her eyes at your man. And you can only go by based on what you know of your guy, and how well you feel he respects you, and how much you respect him. These are the little deciding factors whether he'll cheat or not. So it's a bit complex. Again, we're not going to get into the talk whether if he's impaired, if he has liquor, because we all know that drinking alcohol impairs our judgment as well, which I don't agree with drinking a lot of alcohol, and that does affect your decision process as well, making bad decisions and choices. But most men will cheat because they've had very little option in their life, to exercise very little option, and now they have a steady relationship. And a lot of guys will be in relationships, ladies, because of the sex, number one, but they'll never tell you that. And particularly if you're an attractive woman, a lot of guys have never been out with very attractive women. So once they're in that relationship with you for some time, then if they have another option of another attractive woman, or something they've never had before because they've never experienced it, they're more than likely they're going to cheat. This is what I found with colleagues, with friends, with family. A lot of these guys in these circles and these boxes that I just put them in, they haven't had a lot of experiences in their life. That's why I've shared with you ladies too, these guys that started these huge platforms, 99% of them have not had, and then suddenly they're preaching as if they're just former players that started, none of them, they're preaching and giving advice and tips on relationships, and they don't know a damn thing about relationships and cheating. And you hear so much, well, a man is as faithful as his options. I disagree with that totally disagree. Because generally a high value guy that chooses to be in a relationship, he chooses it because that's a decision he has made cognitively. And he has generally had a lot of experience. If he's high value, handsome, and he has money and all that, he's had a lot of ladies in his life. So when he chooses a woman to have a relationship with, generally speaking, he's going to be dedicated towards that woman. So just because it's a high value guy, he's not going to be as faithful as his options. High value guys have been around the block, man. When we say high value, it's his looks, his status, the money he has, the things he's all about. He's driven, he's successful. So you have to always take a step back and look at, what you're up against. Who's this guy? Now, if you're out with an average guy and he hasn't had very many experiences, then he's more than likely going to take up and cheat. Everybody gets bored of their position, their relationship. You females do as well. So that's why I always mention too, when you are with somebody, you're dating somebody in a relationship, as well as you're married, you always have to develop that relationship. It never ends. You got to date your wife, you got to date your husband, you got to be sexy, be feminine. You got both. Men too. Men should be chivalrous. I'm not against any of that, and so many channels talk against it. Which is nonsense, and they're giving bad advice and tips to men out there because it's just either these guys don't know, they've been hurt, or whatever. It's so ridiculous out there what's out there, and it's so funny because a lot of these guys with the largest platforms out there throwing out tips to the young men and even to some of you girls, they're just spitting out nonsense to you ladies, and particularly to the guys, and these guys are sucking it up because they're just so desperate and needy for a male mentor, and these male supposed mentors are spitting out wrong information, and as well as they've never been in relationships as well. So anyways, ladies, I hope you get this. This one is for actually my baby girl out there. So she was a bit curious on why men cheat. And there's various reasons, but the fundamental reasons is what I just shared with you. In most cases, you ladies have to select a solid guy, the guy that's congruent, has frame. Now, if he's handsome and other ladies look at him, you got to always remember, where does he come from? What's his background? That's part of the problem, ladies. You're choosing these guys without vetting out their background. What have they achieved and accomplished? And, did they show any dedication in anything? This is all part of a recipe of potentially this guy being very loyal to you. And if he has respect for you and respect for the things you do, he will be very loyal to you. Even if a girl throws himself at him, when he respects you, he won't even give it a go. Respect is so important within both. And I think, and I've mentioned this to some of the guys too, I find, my particular opinion, love is overrated in regards of a woman loving you. A woman should respect you first as a man, then she can love you. So, ladies, hey, just live life and go for it. Don't be hesitant. Don't be guarded, emotionally guarded. Vet these guys. Any guy that you want to have a serious relationship with. And again, what I share with you only minimizes your risk. There's no 100%. Human beings are unpredictable, particularly if you want to mix alcohol in it. It can become a mess. And I've seen it on your part too, ladies. You're not sugar and spice either. So you have a lot of options. So anyways, going back to the guys, it's much harder for a man to show up and get sex. Much, much harder. Much more challenging than for one of you ladies. You can have the most average looking lady show up somewhere, and there'll be plenty of guys instantly waiting there that'll be willing to lay her on her back. So, and guys, generally, even if he has all his shit together, it's much more difficult for a guy still to do it. That I've experienced myself. I know my buddies that are very successful, very wealthy. they've in their single days, that it was the same story too. You know, you could have an average looking girl, not particularly if she's super hot, let's forget it. She could have whatever she wants pretty much when she's super hot. But you could even just have an average looking girl show up and, you know, guys are ready to lay her on her back. There's no questions asked. But a guy, even if you got it all together, your T's crossed, your I's dotted, you're handsome, good looking, charisma, you're witty, it's still a challenge for you to get laid. So that is a huge part of why a lot of guys will cheat when they can cheat. So I recommend guys that are older than you, or guys that are much older than you, that have experienced life. Because there's a lot of older guys that have had maybe 5 girlfriends in their life, or have been married most of their life, you girls. Always remember that. Like a lot of these coaches that are out there, 99% of them been married most of their life, and now suddenly they're giving tips on dating. And they behave as if, come on, that's why you got to be careful what you're you're processing and what you're digesting from these channels. And that's mainly for the guys. So keep that in mind, and just live life, have fun, don't be as guarded, and enjoy what opportunities are out there for you. Again, vet these guys. When you're looking for a longer term relationship, you have to look at the guy's family, his background, things that he's achieved. You know, does he show dedication in some areas? I don't care how handsome he is and what he has together. He can be loyal to you. He can be, but he has to respect you first. And those areas that he's achieved, and if he's been around the block, he's dated a lot of women, that's a plus for you. Because when he chooses to be with one girl, that means he's going to be loyal towards you. So that is, in essence, a man that has had a lot of options. Now suddenly he chooses to be with you. Well, that's something special for you, ladies. It really is. You know, choosing these humdrum boys out there, you know, that make you feel safe because, oh, well, he's average looking and he won't cheat, I'm better looking than he is. That generally leads to a lot of problems. Generally speaking, it does. So anyways, hope this goes well with you. You understand this, and we'll talk to you later. Ciao.